This paper looks at Iota-Carrageenan and Xylitol in COVID inhibition in vitro, which means that is performed in cell cultures. In this study, they tested the antiviral action of 3 candidate nasal spray formulations against COVID, and what they found is that Iota-Carrageenan in concentrations as low as 6 milligrams per milliliter inhibits COVID in vitro. And then around the same time as this 2021 paper, there was a double-blind placebo-controlled study that showed that Iota-Carrageenan in isotonic sodium chloride reduced the risk of COVID infection in healthcare professionals by about 5 times. I will cover that study in the future, but I will mention that there are very limited studies in terms of in vivo use of Iota-Carrageenan. And furthermore, they found that xylitol at a concentration of 50 milligrams per milliliter was found to exert some antiviral action on COVID. But it's very important to note that this is an in vitro study, this is an in-cell study, so we'll have to look to other papers to see the sustaining effect, the long-term effect of the sprays themselves with these components to see if they actually have staying power. When Iota-Carrageenan is formulated into a nasal spray, it has been proven to be safe and effective against COVID. Carrageenans are often extracted from red seaweeds, and the type we're interested in is the Iota version, with their antiviral capacity being discovered decades ago, which has then been experimentally confirmed on various viruses, including coronaviruses. On the other hand, xylitol is a polyol that has often been used as a sugar substitute, where both in vitro and animal model studies have demonstrated antiviral properties of xylitol against at least RSV. In this study, they looked at 3 different formulations of Iota-Carrageenan, which varied both the amount of xylitol in the formulation as well as the amount of sodium chloride. Importantly, when they looked at cell viability of Iota-Carrageenan, there were no differences in any of the samples tested, so it doesn't possess cytotoxic effects. And again, what they found is that at a minimum concentration of 6 micrograms per milliliter, the solutions of Iota-Carrageenan were able to inactivate the COVID below the limit of detection. And interestingly, for the xylitol at the 50 milligrams per milliliter dose, with a 0 concentration of Iota-Carrageenan, it was also able to inactivate COVID below the limit of detection, while also retaining high cellular viability. So the xylitol also doesn't seem to have cytotoxic effects. And also interestingly, compared to the Iota-Carrageenan alone, when it was combined with the xylitol, it had much higher antiviral properties, only requiring 0.6 micrograms per milliliter to inactivate the COVID below the limit of detection with the xylitol, which all makes Iota-Carrageenan very likely to be effective for a long period of time, having good prophylactic effects. Where Iota-Carrageenan may stay for up to 4 hours in the nasal cavity, this still needs to be confirmed experimentally, but it's a very good sign.